Hey everyone, what's going on? I don't have a whole lot of time here, but I figured I would make a short video talking about the second assassination attempt of Donald Trump and how it's absolutely connected to the same thing that I was talking about with the first assassination attempt of Donald Trump. If you haven't done so, come back and at least watch my last video where I'm talking about Aleister Crowley and the Donald Trump assassination attempt and these numbers 316 and also 418. You can't see it behind that little timestamp, but 316 and 418. And I'm talking about how it's super related to Aleister Crowley. And, you know, there's a reason why these composite numbers and composite cipher has been recently important, and it's linked up to Aleister Crowley as well. And in the composite cipher of Gematria, Aleister Crowley equals 316, and he died 316 days before his birthday, and a number of other things. But the reason this second assassination attempt sticks out so much is the fact that it happened on September 15th, and that just so happens to be the day that leaves 3 months and 16 days in the year, 316. And this shooting came 93 days after Donald Trump's birthday, and the shooter, Ryan Ruth, or however you say the guy's name, his name equals 418. Once again, 316, 418. And the number 93 is important because of Aleister Crowley in the Book of the Law. Remember, on a lot of the covers, or some of the covers of the Book of the Law, it has the Roman numeral 93, and then it says equals 418 to the Roman numeral of 666, 666. So think about how this Ryan Ruth guy, his name is 418 in the reverse satanic cipher, and it's all linked up to Aleister Crowley in the Book of the Law. 93 equals 418. Thelema, his religion, is important to the number 93. So 93 days after Trump's birthday, 3 months and 16 days left in the year, and the shooter's name equals 418. Absolutely in connection to the same thing I'm talking about with Aleister Crowley. But if you watch this previous video, towards the end of the video, I'm talking about this father symbolism and father dying symbolism. And that led me to look up Donald Trump's father, right? I was like, oh, I wonder about Donald Trump's father then. And Donald Trump's father, he just so happened to die 3 months and 16 days after his birthday. I was like, what are the odds of that? Donald Trump's father dead 3 months and 16 days after his birthday. There's a whole lot to this narrative, but there is something going on with the father symbolism. Even after the Donald Trump assassination attempt, we had the death of Kobe Bryant's father, and I've been following the date October 6th, 10/6, a whole lot. And it gets even more important to the number 316 here in a little bit, but with this father symbolism. But a big reason why I've been following that date has to do with this volcano gambling theme that I've been talking about. So a money theme and also volcanoes. And Kobe Bryant was born on Vulcanalia, which is the volcano god. So it's interesting that Kobe Bryant's father would die right after the Donald Trump assassination attempt. Kobe Bryant's father also died on Will Ferrell's birthday. And if you go back to 2021, a big piece into the volcano symbolism had to do with Will Ferrell in the movie Eurovision Song Contest, where he's from Iceland and he's singing a song called Volcano Man. And then the very next day after I watched that movie, there was a volcano eruption in Iceland. But for right now, the point I want to make is that Trump's father died 3 months and 16 days after his birthday. And, you know, we also recently had the story of Tua of the Miami Dolphins and how he got a concussion in the football game, right, on September 12th, just before the second assassination attempt. And he got a concussion by a hit from Damar Hamlin, of all people. Damar Hamlin, the guy who supposedly collapsed on the field from cardiac arrest when they were playing the Cincinnati Bengals. And that was after he hit T. Higgins, right? And this is interesting because the same day that Tua got a concussion after hitting Damar Hamlin, look at the headline stories here. Tua gets the concussion. Right below it, T. Higgins confused by talk that he's faking an injury. So T. Higgins, the guy who got hit by Damar Hamlin just before Damar Hamlin collapses, is in the news right below the story of Tua getting a concussion after he got hit by Damar Hamlin. And Damar Hamlin, when he first returned to the NFL after collapsing, it was against none other than the Miami Dolphins. So there's a big narrative going on here. And, you know, faking an injury is interesting because this concussion doesn't really look like it was really what it gave him a concussion. I mean, you could argue that he's had multiple concussions, and so it wouldn't take as much, and so on. So I don't know if he really got a concussion, but it's pretty funny. There's a story about faking an injury right below it, and it involves the same narrative. And if you go back even, you can watch this video. Damar Hamlin is also connected to this umbrella symbolism that is related back to Aleister Crowley. And a lot of that had to do with my uncle who died in 2017 and how he gave me a Dan Marino jersey and how that was super important and related. So, you know, it's interesting now the Dolphins quarterback gets a concussion. And I'll come back and talk about this in a second, but my friend actually gave me a Tua jersey back in December. It's the only other time I've got a new jersey since my uncle gave me that Dan Marino jersey. But funny, my friend Sturgill even gave me that jersey 3 months and 16 days before Damar Hamlin's birthday. 316, right? And then Damar Hamlin gets Tua a concussion just before the Donald Trump assassination and attempt. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because the Donald Trump assassination attempt, the second one here, it just so happened to happen on Dan Marino's birthday. Let me look up Dan Marino. Dan Marino. September 15th. And this stands out even more is because the shooting was in West Palm Beach, Florida, right? At a golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida. And West Palm Beach just so happens to be a principal city in the Miami metro area. So Donald Trump, there's an assassination attempt of Donald Trump at a golf course in the Miami area on Dan Marino's birthday, right after Tua gets a concussion. And further, Tua is actually from Hawaii. And, you know, if you look up this shooter, I don't know where my picture is, but this shooter, Ryan Ruth or whatever, he's supposedly from Hawaii. So it's like Tua's from Hawaii. All this seems to link back to the Miami Dolphins in some weird way. But in relation to the symbolism with fathers that I am talking about, if you look up Dan Marino's father just so happened to die 3 months and 16 days after his birthday. So once again, 316. I mean, there's something going on with this 316. And if you go way back, this whole theme that I'm talking about with fathers, it has to do with a dream that I had right after Super Bowl 52 that my father died. And then my Uncle Clancy ended up dying. And his name equals 316. And his son, who was the only Eagles fan that I knew, his name equals 316. And they were born, his son was born 3 months and 16 days after his birthday and a whole bunch of other things. My grandma had died earlier in the year in connection to the Eagles. And if you read out Grandma Murphy, it equals 316. But I had a dream that my dad died and my Uncle Clancy was healthy and so on at his funeral and such. So there's this big narrative with dreams, and it goes back to when I was in high school and I had this dream about my friend's father dying, and the very next day he died in a car wreck, exactly how I had it in my dream. And when I found out about the Donald Trump assassination attempt, I was on my way to my brother's house, and I found out at the exact spot where that girl's father had died, right? And so there's this big narrative with dreams is the point that I'm talking about with this father symbolism. And if you go back to when my friend gave me this Tua jersey, it was on December 8th of 2023. If you go back, I was talking a whole lot about, let me see where I put it in here. I was talking about this number 228 and how it was linked up to a dream theme. And my neighbor, Macy, had this dream that I had died on November 25th. And I talked about how it was connected to the band Crazy Town, who has a song called Butterfly. And 228 days after my birthday, the lead singer of Crazy Town, Shifty Shellshock, or whatever his name is, he ended up dying on June 24th, 228 days after my birthday. And Macy's dream was also 228 days before that dream that I had when I was in high school about my friend's father dying. Macy's dream was 228 days before that guy's death anniversary. And it was also 2 months and 28 days before that guy's wife's birthday. And in 2021, I found out that that guy's wife was actually a psychic, right? So there's a big connection here with this dream theme. But my friend Sturgill, who gave me the jersey, his name equals 228. So, what are the odds the shifty shell shock guy would die 228 days after my birthday, after making this post? And he also died on 6/24, a big day I was following with the father symbolism. So there's definitely something going on with this symbolism. And Sturgill gave me this Tua jersey, and the only other person to give me a Dolphins jersey, or any shirt for that matter that I can think of over the years, is my Uncle Barney and him. And my Uncle Barney died 228 days after Sturgill's birthday. And it was also synced up to the band Crazy Town, but also the song Crazy Town by Jason Aldean. And Jason Aldean, born on 2/28. Even more interesting is that Dan Marino's father, look what his birthday is, 22/8, like 228. And even more strange in relation to the father symbolism, if you go from Macy's dream to my father's birthday, it was 4 months and 18 days. 418. And remember, the psychic lady who I'm talking about, whose husband died after I had a dream about him dying years ago, her name equals 418 in the satanic cipher, and her husband died 4 months and 18 days after her birthday, right? And then it connected to Sylvia Brown, the psychic, who died 4 months and 18 days after Montel's birthday, and a bunch of other things. But Macy's dream 4 months, 18 days before my dad's birthday, and it was also 228 days after my dad's birthday. 228. This dream theme that's connected to father symbolism. Even if you look up, I found Tua's father. Tua's father was born on 4/24, which is interesting because if you write out my dad's name, it equals 424. This is also another big number around Donald Trump and the importance of the capital letters and the Capitol insurrection and Ukraine and touching the Western Wall and a bunch of things. But if you go from the death of Dan Marino's father to Tua's father's birthday, it's 4 months and 18 days, right? That's crazy. So the death of Dan Marino's father was 4 months and 18 days before Tua's father's birthday, which also means that Tua's father's birthday was a span of 228 days before Dan Marino's father died. Or you could say that it was just 228 days before I got the Tua jersey on December 8th as well. So there is a definite connection with something to do with father symbolism going on here. And here's where I talked about him being from Hawaii. But I'm talking about how... Well, hold on. Let me keep going here. Because golf course shooting also equals 228. The word golf also equals 228 in this reverse prime cipher. And this cipher is important. I wrote Crowley's cipher because if in this cipher my name equals 711 and Aleister Crowley also equals 711 and AWAS equals 711 in the English extended cipher, which is a cipher I've talked about that is important to synchronicities and such. And if you go back to 2021 when I was talking about the release of my book, a thing that I was talking about with this dream theme right after that, like we had the first Field of Dreams games, we had the Everly Brothers guy die. They have the song called Dreams. There was Kanye West and Corey Taylor stuff was going on in the news, and That went back to a dream theme with Freddy Krueger. But if you go back and look at them posts, I was also talking about the store 7-Eleven. It was this post right here where I was talking about a dream theme when I first noticed this theme with dreams, right? But at the end of it, I was talking about 7-Eleven and how they capitalize all the letters except for the letter N, which I thought was interesting, And, just moral of the story. I was talking about this theme with dreams, and I also talked about 7-Eleven. So it's interesting, with this connection with golf equaling 228 and the reverse prime cipher, which is important to the number 7-Eleven with Aleister, Crowley, and myself. But another interesting thing in relation to 316 and golf is that tomorrow, which will be 316 days after my birthday, September 21st, I'm actually doing a golf tournament, and I've only done one other golf tournament this year. And the year before, I did one golf tournament. It was this Murphy golf tournament, which it's like a memorial tournament for all of my dead relatives, basically. So, like, at one hole, it'll have like a picture of my Uncle Barney, and then one hole will have like my grandma and my Uncle Clancy, and so on. And we've done this for maybe like 5 years or something like that. But it's just interesting that this Murphy golf tournament that has to do with my dead relatives and the people that are connected to these Dolphins jerseys is going to be tomorrow, 316 days after my birthday. And even more interesting is the fact that when Macy had that dream on November 25th, that just happened to be 316 days before October 6th, this big day that I've been following in connection to all of this. So 316 days after Macy's dream will be October 6th. And there is more that goes along with this, like Macy's name equals 184 in the composite cipher, and the guy that I had a dream about dying years ago, his name equals 184, and Sturgill's dad's name sums to 236, which is the 184th composite number. So, I mean, one of Macy's best friends is named Dana, just like Sturgill's dad's name's Dana. I mean, there's something going on with father's symbolism and father's dying. It doesn't necessarily mean that someone's father's going to die either. So a lot of times I've noticed with this symbolism is that it's like something related. It's like this theme is guiding me to see something is important. It doesn't always have to necessarily mean that it's a direct connection. I mean, it could possibly someone's father is going to die soon. But I don't know. It's just crazy how it all links up. And another reason I think it's connected to the Miami Dolphins, and I'm going to get off here, because I have a whole bunch of stuff I got to do yet today, but the day of the second Donald Trump assassination attempt at the golf course, I ended up going to the casino after I got off work that day, and because I get like $70 free play every week, and on Sundays, they give you like 10 times or 7 times the points. So a lot of times I go and I play roulette for like 3 hours. And for the most part, I figured out a system where I can stay very close to even. And you can just sit there and rack up points and I'll get like $200 extra free play. And then I'll go play the slots and I hope something hits, But lately it's just been deader than crap. And even roulette, like the system I was using, just terrible luck, But I've been doing this for a long time too. And you get a ton of free play doing this, but the moral of the story is that I went to the casino that day after I got off work because I had free play that was going to end if I didn't go. And then it was also the points day. And I usually go like one time a week. And it's either Thursday night or Sunday because them are the 2 nights where they have really good points. But I got to the casino, I printed off my free meal ticket, and I ordered some food. And I thought it was funny, the buzzer that they gave me for the food was number 9. And number 9 is this important number to the dream theme. Once again, if you go back and watch this video, I'm talking about the dream theme, how it connects to my father, and me winning money at the casino even. So I was like, maybe that's a good omen for me to win money. But apparently that day it was not. But the point is, I get my food ticket, they give me the little the buzzer with the number 9 on it. I sit down, I play roulette for a tiny bit, and I hear on the radio the song Mr. Crowley starts playing on the radio. Mr. Crowley by Ozzy Osbourne, right? And somebody has now changed this, but just a few weeks ago when I looked this up, it said that the song came out on September 12th, which is the same day that Tua got the concussion. But now they've changed the song to September 20th, which is interesting because that's the birthday of the first Thomas Matthew Crooks, or whatever his name was, the first supposed assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Whoever that guy was, his birthday is September 20th. So now they changed it to September 20th, which is also a span of 316 days after my birthday. But anyway, I'm sitting there playing roulette, and all of a sudden I hear Mr. Crowley, and I was like, what are the odds of that? So I start looking up the song again, and as I'm looking up the song, my friend Cody Green starts calling me. And I haven't talked to Cody Green for a couple months now. He lives in Omaha. I don't see him very much. He just randomly starts calling me right as I'm looking up Mr. Crowley, or Crowley, while the song is playing over the loudspeaker at the casino. And if you go back and watch my previous video, in the very beginning I talked about these connections to my sons being born in relation to Aleister Crowley, and Cody Green was the only friend of mine to call me and congratulate me, and we talked about numbers, and then I went in, I sat down, I looked at the TV, and it was the episode of Family Guy having the girl having a baby. It was a 72nd episode, and my son's name equals 72, and Cody's name equals 72, and I was talking about it's connected to the 72 demons of the Goetia, and Aleister Crowley dying at the age of 72, and AWAS equals 72. So it's just interesting. Mr. Crowley, the song starts playing, and then Cody Green calls me right at that same time, and I haven't talked to him in a few months. That's just, you can't even make it up. But the reason I'm thinking this is connected to the Miami Dolphins is because Cody Green is a humongous Miami Dolphins fan. Like humongous Miami Dolphins fan. And I talked about the date August 31st in the previous video too, because that's my son Aleister's birthday and a bunch of things. And I talked about how I was supposed to DJ at the bar for a kid named Joel, right? Well, that kid named Joel, he's also a humongous Miami Dolphins fan. So there is something going on with how this relates to the Miami Dolphins. And I know it might sound ridiculous, but there's something going on. It's a personal synchronicity or relationship somehow to this Donald Trump narrative. But my friend Cody, his name equals 190, just like Aleister Crowley. And if you go back and watch the previous video, my friend Cody also equals 292, which was this number I was talking about, how I didn't understand what it means, but I showed how it was related to the father symbolism. And as I'm sitting there, I get done talking to Cody or whatever, and I'm playing roulette again, and I look over, and my dad shows up at the casino, and he walks over and he sits down by me playing roulette. I was like, what are the odds my dad is here? Like, I mean, they go over there a decent amount, but I had just talked to them, and they acted like they weren't going to come over. My dad was busy doing stuff, and then they decided to come over. So right after Cody calls me, my dad shows up, and he walks up and starts playing roulette. I mean, there's something going on. But once again, a lot of this 316 and father stuff, it goes back to a money theme. So there's something going on with money and stock market stuff. And my friend Cody's birthday is 292 days before the stock market crash anniversary. So it could be connected to something to do with money, right? Money, stock market. I'm just trying to piece it all together. But somehow this theme with fathers dying and the Miami Dolphins is interrelated into this big narrative that I've been following. And I was looking back at some of my old phone calls from my friend Cody, and he called me at 3:37 on February 3rd, and that's the day that I had a dream that I was going to win $10,000 on Chumba by getting all number 9s, and then 9 days later I won $10,000 on that slot machine. But 337, that's the 337 composite is 418. And notice the time before when he called me was at 316. I just thought that was interesting. Sure, there's those other ones, but just some interesting connections, you know. And then when I had my card in and I was looking at my points, I looked down and it had the number 316 on there. It also says Oasis on here, and Oasis, the band, was important to why I was talking about the number 292 in the previous video. So Also, September 15th, this day of the second Trump assassination attempt, it is 339 days after Aleister Crowley's birthday, and Miami Dolphins equals 339 in the reverse composite. Champagne Supernova also equals 339, right? Which was my synchronicity with Oasis and so on. So September 20th, when they moved Mr. Crowley, it is 292 days after Ozzy Osbourne's birthday, the guy who wrote Mr. Crowley. But I'm going to end the video there. Just wanted to point out some of these interesting synchronicities, how it's related to the Donald Trump thing, how it's still connected to Aleister Crowley. It's connected to my life, the Dolphins. Don't know the full meaning, but like I said, I'm watching for the date 10-6. Maybe it's a personal synchronicity. I bet you $1 million at that golf tournament tomorrow. There's going to be all kinds of interesting synchronicities going on that I will be blogging about. But I also have a wedding I have to DJ tomorrow night, so I have to leave that golf tournament early. So I probably won't be able to blog about it for a few days afterwards. But all right, I have to be done. Have a good one. Peace.